no. Well, I thought that was going to fade in nicely. That wasn't a very good fade, was it? Hello, everyone. How are we? Let me know if you can hear me and see me. My name is Jesse Smith. Hope you're all doing okay. We're going to get straight in with some questions. I'm a touring rock and roll singer from London, England. YouTube is massive and very big, I've just realised. And I want to do more of this stuff. So I thought I'd come on and just speak to some of you who might not have a clue who I am. And leave this video up for you all to ask. And if you're watching this later, please ask questions and I'll get back to you in the comments afterwards. But let's crack straight on. So let's get to know each other. First question from Laura. Hi, Laura. How are you? She says, hi, Jesse. Hope you're feeling better. Thank you. I am. I'm feeling much better. Thank you. Congratulations on 1971 video views. Did you expect Stairway to Heaven to have so many views so quickly? So, yes, that's part of the reason I'm here right now, is that YouTube is so massive and it's such a big deal for musicians. So I have a show called 1971 The Show. You can find it on YouTube, 1971 The Show, which is my own theatre production where we celebrate the music of 1971. Our first video has done I think nearly 60,000 views or something as it stands. Which is obviously brilliant for a brand new YouTube page and a new show. So every time I do stuff on YouTube, I realise how much it means to you guys, because I get to interact with you guys kind of one-on-one and have these chats with you, and you get to know me a bit better, which is part of the reason I'm doing this right now. So yeah, I'm very happy with how it's going so far, Laura. YouTube is still an enigma to me, but I'm enjoying spending a bit more time on it, and I'm definitely enjoying growing the 1971 The Show. So yes, thank you for the question. Jill says, does this rigorous touring schedule affect your health at all? I've just done 3 days at Rock and I've wiped out. As you're saying that, I'm trying really hard not to cough because you can hear I've still got a little bit of a chesty cough going on. So so basically the last 2 days of our tour on the Classic Rock Show, it's one of the only times in my whole career where I just couldn't sing at all on the last show. I mean, I managed to get through the penultimate show, but my voice was very shaky. And I pride myself on having great vocal technique. I was taught proper singing technique, which for a rock singer is invaluable. So I can normally sing through different types of illnesses, and my voice is normally rock solid. But I just got ill. I mean, I felt guilty because I sort of got quite drunk in Dublin, which isn't like me. I don't drink that much these days, but I got a little drunk in Dublin, and I think it just affected my immune system that I picked up a bug, and some of the other guys on the tour had that bug, and it just really affected specifically my voice, and it was really, really tough actually. And the last show I didn't sing at all, which was such a shame because it was the last show of the tour. But when you're ill, you're ill, and it's over a week ago now, and so it's been like 8-9 days, and I've still got this lingering kind of sort of gunk in my chest and stuff like that. So sometimes even the best singers, you just have to rest, So I've had like 8 days off, and now I'm raring to go. So I'm actually actually ready to go back out on tour now, Jill. But so it can affect your health. So you do definitely have to look after yourself. Jason says, hello from Canada. Greetings from Canada. Hi, Jason. I'm actually coming to Canada tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to flying out to Canada. So I'm coming out there with Led Zeppelin Symphonic, which is an amazing show. Led Zeppelin music with an orchestra. Can't wait to come out to Canada. Flying out there tomorrow afternoon. Kevin says, after doing so many shows with CRS, do you feel nervous getting up on stage, or are the nerves gone after a couple of shows? To be honest, I don't really get nervous these days. I'd say I get pumped up, so I get that adrenaline buzz, and sometimes I'm pacing around backstage. You get that kind of rush of being on stage, and especially when you hear the crowd start making noise before you come on stage. I wouldn't say I get nervous anymore, Kevin, honestly. But good question though. Jackie says, thank you for the 1971 videos. They are fabulous. Oh, it's a pleasure. There'll be a new one coming out on Wednesday, so look out for that on my 1971 The Show page. Kevin's complimenting me on my camera and my mic, so that's great. I'm glad it's looking good. Martin says, hello from France. My mum and I came all the way from Toulouse to Cadogan Hall to see you in January. Definitely worth it. I'm a fan. Thank you so much, Martin. I really appreciate that. Thanks for coming. We've got Innocent Victim 64 with an AC/DC picture. It says, are you satisfied with the success of the concerts in Europe? Are there plans to come to Berlin later? Yes, so the last 2 years with the Classic Rock Show, we have been gradually increasing the territories that we've been coming to. And so we did 3 shows in Europe last year, and this year I think we did 13. So you can see the trajectory there. I personally think that this type of show is made for touring in Europe. And Berlin is the exact kind of place we would love to be coming. So we only did 1 show in Germany, I believe, which was in Cologne, which went really well. It was one of the better shows of the tour, I would say. The crowd were brilliant. It was the only show where everyone, even though the gigs were, it was the only, let me rephrase that. It was the only seated show that the audience was stood up for nearly the whole show. So I think that goes to show you the kind of appetite for rock and roll out in Germany. So we love coming to Germany. I love Berlin, would love to come to Berlin. So Susan says, you are far too young to be around in 1971. Where does the love for 70s music come from? Well, I think, I mean, I've always been a fan of 60s and 70s music anyway. It's just a golden era in music generally, isn't it? I grew up listening to the Beatles and Bowie and Eric Clapton and, you know, all that good stuff in the house, basically. And I just fell in love with it. And my whole life seems to revolve around Queen, the Beatles and Led Zeppelin and all these bands, you know. So yeah, it was. I think I got my dad to thank for that. Really, he was just always playing those records when I was a kid, and I just grew to love it. And 71 in particular, I got inspired to do the show by an author called David Hepworth, who has a book called Rock's Golden Year, and it talks about 1971. And I was just fascinated with how many incredible albums came out that year. So yeah, it was brilliant. So we have Vitsa. Hi, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. The Classic Rock Show in Belgium was fantastic, but why do you choose venues with seated audience? Would be much more fun with standing audience. So this is another thing we've been trying out, Vitsa. So we've had both standing and seated shows. In the UK, we've built our reputation on it being a theatre show. So it's seated. We do 2.5 hour shows with an interval. And yeah, it's a funny one because some people prefer standing, some people prefer seated, and we tried this tour. We played different venues, different set lengths, so we just tried to keep it fresh and I guess it just comes down to personal preference, really. So yeah, maybe next time we'll do standing, but it just depends on the venue as well. So yes, moving on. Kevin says, I talked with Henry Burnett after the show in Utrecht and he told me he might have taken over some of your vocals. Is that something that happens often, switching vocals during a tour? So as I mentioned earlier, Kevin, I was ill on that last show. So the one in Utrecht and what was the very last show? Was it Utrecht? Yeah, Utrecht and Luxembourg. So they were the only two where that happened, and that was just because I was ill. So sometimes if somebody's ill, like for example, Rudy's been ill in the past, or hasn't been able to do the show at all, and I've sung his stuff, you know. So it's just varied basically. So yes. Fiona says, apart from being ill at the end, it was this year's tour as much fun as it looked. It really was, Fiona. We all had an absolute blast. It was really, really fun. Before we move on, just letting you guys know, this is going to be until 7 p.m. UK time, so in about another 11 minutes. And then I'm going live to my Patreon. So there's a lot of my Patreons here I can see in the comments already, but I once a month, I do an hour-long conversation with everybody on my Patreon page. You can sign up. It's £5 a month, and I have these kind of chats all the time. So if you're enjoying this, consider joining us afterwards, straight after this on Patreon at 7 o'clock. Jesse Smith UK on Patreon, patreon.com/Jesse Smith UK. Let's move on. Lorna says, how do you look after your voice while touring? So a lot of it's about what you eat. So making sure you're eating anti-inflammatory foods, like ginger and turmeric and stuff like that, honey, lemon and ginger tea. All those little tiny things help. But of course, the main thing is rest. So making sure you're getting enough sleep. I always make sure I get at least 8 hours sleep if I can whilst touring, which is hard sometimes because we, Classic Rock Show, we tour on a tour bus. So it's not always super glamorous. So making sure, I don't force myself to wake up, making sure I'm sleeping as long as I can. And then on top of that, do I have it with me? No, it's upstairs, but I have a nebulizer, which is basically steam, essentially. And then an actual steamer as well. So then I have a routine of steam, nebulizing, which kind of do the same thing, really. One's hot and one's room temperature. And then making sure I warm my voice up properly. We can go into this in detail in another video, perhaps, but I have quite a strict routine on show days, which is basically rest as long as I can, nebulize before sound check usually. Sometimes I'll steam before sound check, depends how I feel. And then about an hour before the show is when I start really warming up in earnest. So yeah, Stuart says, any update on the new album? The only thing I can say, Stuart, is that I'm currently writing. I'm really proud of what I've written so far, and it's on the way. It's on the way. Let's move on. Diane's out in upstate New York. Says, missed CRS last year when we were here. Oh, I'm so sorry, Diane. Well, hopefully we'll make it over there very soon. Jill says, do you have any superstitions or a good luck charm that you have to observe or have with you when you perform? I don't think I do, actually. I'm not really a superstitious guy. There's certain things that would make me uncomfortable. Like if I'd forget my jewellery, for example, because I always wear jewellery. But I guess that's more an aesthetic thing. But if I didn't have it on, I'd be like, oh, I don't have my jewellery on, But that's just because I like every show to be the same, so obviously I make sure I'm wearing what I want to wear and blah blah blah. But yeah, I'm not particularly superstitious, to be honest with you. How big is this Beatles mug, by the way? Love it. So yeah, no, not really. Linda says, do you have a favourite track that you like singing? That changes all the time, to be honest with you, depending on the gig, depending on the tour. But yeah, I on this tour just gone, I really enjoyed Dancing in the Dark. I really enjoyed U2 as well. Where the Streets Have No Name, they were probably my two favourites. So yes, Jason says, what have been some standout moments for you when performing live? What springs to my mind straight away is this is kind of just the whole day, but I did a festival in Belgium back in, I think it was 2017. It was either 17 or 18 in a festival called Rock Werchter, which is a massive festival. And speaking of the Beatles, Paul McCartney was headlining, and so we did a show on the second stage, which was a huge outdoor tent, and we played to about 18,000 people. And after we performed, we got to the VIP area and we were drinking red wine, watching Paul McCartney from like right at the front. So that really stands out to me. The places you get to go, those kind of situations you find yourself in, there's been some amazing ones of those on tour. And, just getting to travel, this job has taken me to up mountains in the Alps, to India, to the USA, to Canada, and so I'm every day, honestly, is a blessing. I really love it. It's not all glamorous. Obviously, there's moments where it's tough, but in general, touring, I just love, and I love meeting people and learning about local cuisine and local traditions, and it's all a joy, to be honest. But again, when we've got more time, I could go into some more detail, perhaps on another video. of some specifics because there's been some brilliant stories. So yes, moving on. There's a few people talking about standing or seating in the. See, this is what I mean. A few people are already saying that they prefer seated, or So, Kat says, "Hi, Kat. Hi, Jesse. You bring so much energy to the tour every night. Do you have a fitness regime before/during tour?" Yeah. So, I really try and keep myself fit on tour, and it can be tough, especially. What I find hardest about fitness on tour is can be food, because depending on the tour, sometimes you have catering, and when you have catering, it's great because your food's all there, but it's also hard because your food's all there, so you can end up overeating and stuff. But what I did this year, and kind of it's been my regime for the last sort of year and a bit, is kettlebell workouts, because I can take a couple of kettlebells with me. And put them in our wardrobe case. And then it means every sort of couple of days, I can do like a really intense kettlebell workout. I normally do it with Banksy, who's our bass player on the Classic Rock Show tour. And then I also use hotel gyms. Every time we've got a hotel, I'll be in the gym in the morning of a show, and just lifting weights. And then quite semi-regularly I'll go for runs, so especially if it's a nice day or I'm in a new city I haven't been to before, I'll go for a run around the city. So yeah, I think it's really important to stay fit during a tour, and I've had it before in the past where I haven't been in great shape, and I might have like an injury to my knee or something from football, and then you feel really sluggish and really like you're second guessing your movement on stage. So I like to try and get in really good shape before a tour if I can, all within reason. I still enjoy food, and I'm not one of these people who's worried about having 5% body fat or anything. But yeah, definitely keeping physically fit really helps. I find it helps everything. It helps your sleep, which in turn helps your voice. So yeah, I do, and I think it's very important. Martin says, which song do you wish you had written? Oh, that's a great question. Which song do I wish I'd written? Oh, that's really hard. The first song that popped in my head, I don't know why. There's so many songs I wish I'd written, but it's Maybe I'm Amazed by Paul McCartney. I just think it's such a beautiful love song. I really love the chords. I really love the change of key when it goes to the middle eight. I love playing it on piano. There we go. That's one for today. Is there any songs you would not sing? I don't like singing Living on a Prayer, Serena. But I have sung it for money. So, yes. We've got 2 minutes left, guys. So get your questions in before we head over to Patreon. Peyton said, would you be open to collabs on your new album? Well, I guess potentially. I mean, I'm working with a songwriter called Sarah Carter, who's absolutely brilliant. And so I've been writing with her, Peyton. But yeah, come at me. Send me some ideas. Will John Bon Jovi for cash? Yeah, exactly. Has to be a lot of cash, though. I'm talking serious Benjamins. Kevin says, what do you think of Roy Orbison? Roy Orbison, what a voice, man. I mean, I love the Travelling Wilburys, and I just think he's got one of those timeless, classic voices. It reminds me of my granddad. He used to like listening to Roy Orbison. So, yeah, I'm a massive fan. So got a minute left, guys, and then I've got to head over to my Patreon. But thank you so much for tuning in. Let's do a couple more questions. How much input does each member of the band have towards the set list? Do you have ones that you try to keep every tour, or are they all up for change? Does it all depend on what you can sing and play? That's like 3 questions in one, so I will try and answer it as quickly as I can. Every member has a say on the set list, and then it's just it's a mass debate. Do you have ones that you try to keep every tour? Yes, there's ones that we feel like we can't not play because they always go down so well. Stuff like Bat Out of Hell, Jump by Van Halen. We find it very difficult not to play them because I always say when we're talking about set list, what's better? Give me a song that's better in that part of the show than Bat Out of Hell. I think you'll struggle to find one that does what we want it to do. We normally do Freebird. We didn't do it this year. And then people say, why are you not playing Freebird? You know, so yeah, you know, that's all part of it as well. And then lastly, does it all depend on what you can all sing and play? Definitely. We try and choose material in the Classic Rock Show that suits us. So, you know, doing Van Halen really suits Pete Thorne. Doing Journey really suits Rudy. Doing the more bluesy guitar playing suits James Cole. Led Zeppelin suits me. The Beatles suits me. So, you know, it's always finding where it suits the singers plus everything else. I hope I've got through that question quickly. Kevin says, what do you think of Traveling Wilburys? Yeah, I just love the Traveling Wilburys, man. So, yes, that was a really quick Q&A, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching this after the fact, please drop some questions in the comments and I'll get back to you. And then I'll try and do these more regularly because I really enjoy doing these. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'm 1 minute late for my Patreons and I love my Patreons to death. So I'm heading over there now. If you'd like to join us, you can join us patreon.com/Jesse Smith UK, and we'll be continuing on this conversation at hopefully a slightly slower pace. In the future, if you've got any questions about singing or touring or being a professional session rock and roll musician, I'd love to talk to you all about it. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, everybody. See you on Patreon in a sec.